Welcome back to Great Day, Louisiana. It is no secret because of that current stay-at-home order, many of us are at home with our families a little bit more often these days. And because of that, some of our relationships may be getting stressed out. How do we prevent that from not happening with all of our relationships? Joining us now with some advice and to address that in general is friend of the show, Miss Susan Harrington. She's a licensed family and relationship therapist. And on top of that, she's the owner of Maison Vie. She is back on the show with us this morning. Hello, my friend.
Hello, Malik. It's so good to see you again.
So good to see you as well. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We have to talk about it because I'm seeing this in my own personal life, and they're definitely seeing it across the pond in different countries. I was doing some research earlier. Shanghai divorce lawyers are saying that divorce rates have increased 25% since mid-March. And on top of that, over in Spain, we have had an increase in domestic violence calls. My first question for you is, do we see that happening here in Louisiana? And if so, why?
So that is very true research. Some other places say that the research can be as high as 60%, which is just so frightening. So I'm here to let people know that we have a way to get through it. We also have some disaster research that we've done over the years that include Hurricane Katrina, Hurricane Sandy, the mass shooting in Las Vegas, Oklahoma City bombing. Like, we have lots of disaster research that gives us information about this. And so we know that there's a difference between what happens for marriages after natural research disasters, which are things like what we're experiencing now, pandemics and hurricanes. Those are natural events, versus man-made ones, which are more like a mass shooting, right? So those things have impacts on our daily routines, our financial status, those things, and they impact relationships. And that's part of what's the reason for these divorce rates and the marriage rates and domestic violence and these sorts of things.
Absolutely. And of course, one of your biggest tips on how to not have that happen is to communicate. How can couples address the strains in their relationships if they do see them coming soon or right now?
I do appreciate you saying that. I really do, because that is the goal of what I want to talk about today. So what we know as marriage and family therapists is when we have proactive and ongoing conversations, just not one chat with your partner, that what happens when we do that, we can resolve things. We can especially resolve them if we talk about it when it's irritating us, not when we're frustrated and mad, but when we're irritated at the beginning. So those are really important. So I was reading a story today where a person was she just flew off the coop when her husband came in with the mail and put it on the regular place where they put it that was all sterilized, and she just lost her cool. That's waiting too late. It has to be a direct conversation early and proactive. Those things are really, really helpful.
Do you suggest talking about the little things that may get us angry with our significant other or our other family members, or wait for something big to happen to finally address them?
Oh, no, we don't want if we wait till it's big, then we're striking when the iron's hot. If you touch a hot iron, you burn. But if we touch a cold iron, then we can talk about it. We're cool-headed. We have a conversation. So these things that are about proactive and ongoing need to focus on three really basic aspects. So if we have these conversations and then we talk about being considerate of one another, what do I need to be considerate of you, and what you need to do to be considerate of me? It works both ways. That if we have conversations that are about being cooperative, that how can we work together in this? And that's why it's really important to strike when the iron is cold as opposed to when it's hot. It's easier for me to be cooperative and considerate if I'm not hot-headed. And the other thing was this piece about sharing responsibility. When we get together as couples, sometimes we don't have conversations about who's responsible for what. This is a time when it's really important to sit down and say, I can do this at this time. Would you please do that at that time? Sure, and I can do that, but I need you to do this. This kind of work at compromising and communicating. So I'm listing a whole bunch of seed words that really make a difference in us getting through this and showing some really important research challenges.
Absolutely. And for people out there who hopefully they don't get to that situation where they're talking divorce or they're talking a domestic violence situation, do you all have any resources that are available to help them out if they are going through something like that?
So you bring up a really good point, because the domestic violence numbers are going up. We do have those hotlines that are still active and available. And yes, so for the couples and families that don't have that level of intensity, it is important that you get connected with folks to learn that. At Maison Vie, we're currently planning a group that's specifically designed to help us back these pieces of how to put proactive and ongoing conversations so we can learn how to be considerate and cooperative and work out shared responsibility. So if people are interested in that, the phone lines are open to call and register for the group.
Absolutely. And of course, we're talking about marriage here, but if you have an ongoing situation with your children, again, now that they're here at home instead of school, is there any tips you can offer to when communicating to your children, your brothers and sister, anybody besides your significant other?
You know, when you say that to me, it reminds me of that old thing mamas and daddies used to do, that go say, I'm sorry to your brother, say, I'm sorry, and kiss them good, and you didn't really mean it. So those things don't work. But what works is when we model as a couple, when they see the parents agreeing, that's really important. I want to keep in mind, however, in New Orleans, a lot of our homes are single parent. So if we have an additional generational person who can help, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent who can be a part of this and help with that, even if it's through technology like we're talking today, that would be really great to sit with them while they're doing homework. Things that help to give people a break and give people time.
Absolutely. Hey, to learn more about the services offered by Maison Vie, you can log on to MaisonVieNewOrleans.com or give them a call at 452-5937.